1st, 2020. And this morning, we are talking about the bombshell that dropped yesterday. These audio recordings of Donald Trump in which he admits that he knew about the threat of the coronavirus as early as February, knew how deadly it was, knew that it was more strenuous than the flu, and that he was intentionally trying to downplay it to the American people. And of course, as we know now, nearly 200,000 Americans have lost their lives due to the COVID-19 crisis. And so we've got some people joining this morning. Good morning, Ariana. Good morning, Matt. More liberal lies, he says, from the news channel. Well, I'm hoping to present you all with a lot of facts this morning and a lot of receipts. Good morning, Mark Goldman from Los Angeles. So Donald Trump knew in early February that the coronavirus was deadly and actively lied to the American people to downplay the virus and the severity of the COVID-19 crisis. We know that now because of audio recordings that were released yesterday in advance of journalist Bob Woodward's book, Rage, which is coming out. Now, Bob Woodward, a little background about who Bob Woodward is. He was made famous for his reporting for the Washington Post in the 1970s on the Watergate scandal, and that reporting ended up leading to the resignation of then President Richard Nixon. So Bob Woodward began audio taping interviews with Donald Trump in December of last year, and he did 18 recordings through July. These audio interviews were consented to by the president. Good morning, Christopher Drago. Good morning, Bianca Barnes. I hope you're in for a bumpy ride. I'm coming this morning with receipts. So Bob Woodward audio taped these interviews, and they are very damning. So the White House, of course, is scrambling to deny the comments that Trump made that we hear with our own two ears on audio recording with Bob Woodward. Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany said in a press conference yesterday that the president, quote, has never lied to the American public on COVID, despite the audio recorded evidence that shows that he literally did. We got some comments. I love when almost everyone is either for Trump or completely against Trump. I'm not here to make any, to say I'm for or against Trump, although my biases do precede me. I am here to clear up the lies and offer up some receipts about the truth of these statements and the veracity of these statements. So what exactly did he say in his recordings to Bob Woodward? We know that he said that he knew in early February that the coronavirus was deadly. He knew it was more deadly than even the most strenuous flu. He wanted to, quote, always play it down and, quote, I still like playing it down because I don't want to create a panic. Bravo Jose says, morning, his an old poker cheater player. Someone says my mustache is fantastic. Thank you so much. So we know that he made these statements because we heard the audio recording yesterday. Of course, all of this confirms that Trump knew what his advisors were telling him all along about the virus. Of course, there were leaked memos from his national security advisor, his national security advisors on record on January 28th, saying that this is going to be the biggest threat to his presidency and a huge national security risk. So, and this particular audio interview that reveals that he was aware of the severity of the coronavirus pandemic was in February. So I am going to provide you all some receipts, although Christopher Drago is chiming in with some of his quotes. Some of the receipts that we have after the February 7th interview with Bob Woodward, in which he privately said that he knew the severity of the coronavirus pandemic and how deadly it was. So on February 10th, quote, I think the virus is going to be fine. February 10th, looks like by April, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously goes away. February 24th, the coronavirus is very much under control in the USA. Stock market starting to look very good to me, according to a tweet from Mr. Trump. February 25th, the CDC and my administration are doing a great job of handling coronavirus. February 25th, I think that's a problem that's going to go away. They have studied it. They know very much. In fact, we're very close to a vaccine. February 26th, we're going very substantially down, not up, he says. February 26th also, well, we're testing everybody that we need to test and we're finding very little problem, very little problem. February 26th again, this is a flu. This is like a flu. Again, in his audio recordings, he was saying he is aware that this is much more deadly than the flu. And many of his supporters and the anti-maskers ran with this rhetoric in their justification for not wearing masks and saying that it was just a flu. Lucia Ibar says, to be honest, listening to that recording, he sounded more, quote, serious than I ever heard him. I think that the problem is that people are upset that he did not take that seriousness into his public role as the president of the United States and help prevent the deaths of Americans. And had he acted with more, acted at all, which many are saying he acted not at all, that we could have saved nearly 200,000 American lives. Christopher Drago, the GOP, is already acting like it's no big deal. Asha Woot, so what happens now that his lies have been exposed? I think it's up to the American people to decide that enough's enough, and for apologists to stop apologizing for the president's lives because people are dying. And I know that it's hard with 200,000. That number is so big, but try to imagine that that's more lives lost than all of the wars that we've fought combined. So he's got so much blood on his hands now, says Christopher Drago. Safe Haven says, nice stream. Thank you very much. Lucia agrees. But I've got more receipts because these lies continued on. March 4th, Mr. Trump says now, and this is just my hunch and based on a lot of conversations with a lot of people that do this, because a lot of people will have this, and it's very mild, he says. March 6th, I think we're doing a really good job in this country at keeping it down, a tremendous job at keeping it down. March 6th, it will go away, he says. March 7th, when we get into April, the warmer weather, that has a very negative effect on that. March 7th, I'm not concerned at all about the virus. March 9th, during a press conference, he was saying that the CDC would implement 4 million tests per week, but had only done 4,000 tests. March 11th, it goes away, he says. It's going away. We want it to go away with very, very few deaths. So it goes on. He doesn't take any responsibility at all on March 13th. March 14th, I rated a 10, Donald Trump says, about his own coronavirus response. March 19th, in his audio recording with Bob Woodward, another recording from Bob Woodward on March 19th, he is saying he always wants to play it down and he intends to play it down. So all of these comments are happening intentionally. He's admitting to lying and playing down the virus, and that is literally resulting in people's the death of Americans. Cuz I Can says, I can't believe anyone trusted him in the first place, downplaying COVID-19. Indeed. March 24th, Donald Trump says, we've never closed down the country for the flu. He says, so you say to yourself, what is this all about? In private, of course, he's saying that it's far more deadly than even the most strenuous flu. Deadly stuff, he was calling it, but in public saying this is just a flu over and over again. Groovy John says, Trump's handling of COVID shows the danger of electing an unqualified president. Indeed so. At March 26th, we're going down a chronology of the receipts, everybody. March 26th, Trump says, I don't believe you need 40,000 or 30,000 ventilators. March 29th, he doubts where the masks are going. Thank you very much. March 30th, stay calm, he says, it will go away. This is all up until April 6th, where the U.S. death toll passes 20,000. And of course, the lies continued on and on and on. April 22nd, if the coronavirus comes back through, it won't be coming back in the form that it was. It will be coming back in smaller doses that we can contain. This is right before April 23rd, where the U.S. hit 26 million job loss claims. And then on April 24th, the U.S. death toll surpassed 50,000. April 29th, it's going to go away. This is going to go away. May 5th, the U.S. death toll passes 70,000. May 5th, consumer debt hits an all-time high. May 7th, 33 million people file unemployment jobless claims. May 8th, this is going to go away without a vaccine, he says. It is going to go away. We are not going to see it again. Ali B comments, but he said it would be gone by Easter. He said, indeed, and we're going down a chronology of the lies about the lies. May 11th, we have met the moment and we have prevailed, Donald Trump says. May 14th, it could be that testing's frankly overrated. Maybe it's overrated. May 18th, the US death toll surpasses 90,000. May 19th, when we have a lot of cases, I don't look at that as a bad thing. I look at that as, in a certain respect, as a good thing. May 22nd, U.S. jobless claims hit 38 million. May 27th, U.S. death toll passes 100,000. U.S. death toll passes 110,000 June 6th. At June 15th, he said again, at some point this is going to go away. On June 17th, it's fading away, he said. June 18th, it's dying out. The numbers are starting to get very good. June 22nd, the U.S. death toll passed 120,000. June 23rd, it's going to go away. The U.S., I think we're going to be very good with the coronavirus, he says, on July 1st. I think at some point that it's going to just sort of disappear, I hope. July 6th, the U.S. death toll passes 130,000. July 7th, I think we are in a good place. So it goes on, and the list is extremely long, and I don't have more than just about 10 minutes of your time. Christopher Drago says, I just drank some Pepto, you and me both. And so, of course, the U.S. death toll surpassed 160,000 deaths on August 6th, a day after he said it will go away like things go away. August 5th, I want to point out this comment, August 5th. If you look at children, children are almost, and I would almost say definitely, troubling that he's even putting children's lives at risk, knowing as early as February that this is an extremely deadly virus. So the U.S. death toll on September 9th passed 190,000. On August 12th, the U.S. reported the highest number of COVID-19 deaths in one day since mid-May. So the virus is not under control. There is no coordinated federal response to the coronavirus pandemic. Donald Trump is responsible for the lives of nearly 200,000 Americans. And I think the lies in public and the encouraging of people to act like this is not a crisis, to not wear masks, to not take it seriously, has resulted in needless deaths. So thank you all so much for joining this morning on the AM Report with Alex Mahajer for Habs News, the network of Now. I'm live every single weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern with all of your political news and headlines to get your day started off right. If you like this journalism and you want to sponsor it or support it, please buy me a cup of coffee. Believe it or not, I haven't even had one this morning. I know. So join me every morning right here, and I'm looking forward to seeing